Hello again, everybody. Emmanuel sports fans, good to have you back for our second installment of Lions Pride, which I think is what we decided to call this. Anyway, we're talking about Emmanuel Athletics. And with us today, the man who runs the show here at Emmanuel. And, okay, he may argue with me. This is Nate Moorman, the Athletic Director here at Emmanuel. I don't know how much you had to do with it, but this is a great athletic department here, with so many people contributing.
Yeah, thanks. It is a great department, and I think what makes Emmanuel unique and our department unique is it's full of great people.
Yeah. Let's talk about your past, Nate. How did you get here? How did you end up in Emmanuel?
Well, so I was a wrestling coach at another Division II institution in Bristol, Tennessee, and during my time as a wrestling coach, I became an assistant athletic director. We had made the move from NAI to NCAA Division II in my time there, and when I saw the opportunity open here for an athletic director position at Emmanuel and knew that Emmanuel was making the transition as well, it seemed like a good fit. And you know, as an administrator, one of the things you enjoy to do the most is help come in and solve problems and make an impact, and I knew that'd be a good opportunity for me, so that's how I ended up here.
Have a lot of problems to solve?
We got our fair share of problems. There's no question about that.
And growth creates those problems a lot of times.
Sure.
And no doubt Emmanuel Athletics is growing.
We went from, when I got here, I think we had roughly 350 athletes to 575 athletes this past fall. So,
out of 850 students, that's not bad.
That's not bad. It can be bad. It's a lot of students.
How about your athletic background? I guess you wrestled?
Right. I wrestled at Emmanuel College, NCAA Division II institution in Tennessee as well, and that I stayed on there as an assistant coach. That led me to become a head coach at the college level, and the rest was kind of history from there. So, got a passion for wrestling, obviously. And first month and a half of coming to Emmanuel, and one of the first things on the agenda was to start men and women's wrestling, and we were blessed to have a facility to do so, and two coaches that were willing to come in and really get it started off, and they've done a great job, and it's been pretty impactful for us. So. And
yes, he did say women's wrestling. So how did that get started? Not a lot of women's wrestling programs.
Sure. I think the college level women's wrestling really took off when 2004, when women's wrestling became an Olympic sport. When we started to kind of see that trend growing, when I was at King University, my brother and I put together a proposal to start women's wrestling at King. And for the first couple of years, we went through what that process is like developing. And as we were going through it, other schools were starting it. We're seeing it grow at the high school level. In fact, in the last 3 or 4 weeks, GHSA is now sanctioning women's wrestling as well in the state of Georgia. So it's growing fast at the grassroots, and it's growing fast at the college level. It's a great opportunity to get students, and they're pretty amazing athletes, and it's just been really great.
I think maybe men's wrestling at the college level may be receding a little bit. Do you agree with that or not?
It's a constant give and take. When you see one drop because there's not conference alignment, or for Title IX or budgetary reasons, you see a program lost. For every program lost, there's another team that's starting up. So it's almost as if men's wrestling can't get ahead. You know, every time we make an effort to move forward, you know, we lose a school here and there. It's no longer sponsoring. And Emmanuel College, for example, is one of them. My alma mater, you know, they dropped wrestling for budgetary reasons in 2008, and you know, it's kind of the reality that we have to deal with and stay focused and help keep it growing.
Was Rich Sharpie at Carson Newman, or is he in Newberry? He coached it where I went to high school.
I don't think he was at Carson Newman.
Okay,
I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
His son played baseball, football, Clemson. Anyway, this area may be a little bit of a hotbed for high school wrestling. Help recruiting?
It did. From what I understand, I mean, our former coach that we had hired, Jake Brumlow, who is at another institution now, helping another institution get off the ground and start wrestling. He's got a knack for that. He's really good at that. But he's a Georgia boy. He's got all kind of records in the state of Georgia. And so when we were able to land him here, he's also a Carson Newman grad. When we were able to land him here, he immediately started building a pipeline of recruiting. Commerce down the road, Jefferson.
Yeah.
There's some great programs locally, and in the state of Georgia, just in general. Wrestling's really taken off in Georgia. So.
Especially, you mentioned Jefferson, their state champions every year. Social Circle has really come on lately.
Right.
So, do you get kids out of those really small programs interested in Emmanuel?
You know, I'm not really on the recruiting front of it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I do know that we get kids from those schools here at Emmanuel, and we get kids from all over. And with women's wrestling, we get kids from California, Texas, pretty much all over the country, really. Mm-hmm. But it's unique, and you know, we've got other sports as well that are unique. I mean, archery, clay target, shooting. Bowling, and some of these they've got similar struggles in the sense that they're trying to grow fast at the grassroots and at the collegiate level, and I just couldn't be happier with our coaches and their involvement in trying to really be ambassadors for those sports and help those sports grow too. But they bring athletes from all over as well.
We're talking about a little school here, 850 students. How do you get these small programs started? I mean, there's got to be interest. But is that left up to the coaches, people you hire?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing we do when we're determining a program is to see what the cost is going to be and what sort of revenue a program can generate to the institution's bottom line. Is it marketable? Can you recruit? You know, what's it look like regionally, not just the state of Georgia, but regionally? Once we get a pretty good idea of if it's something that will fit well in Franklin Springs, Georgia, and we know that we can get a coach that can be aggressive in recruiting, then we pull the trigger and we make it happen. And the coaches get out and they give them time to grow their program, the resources they need to do so, both from a budget standpoint for recruiting or scholarships, whatever they need to build championship programs. And that's one of the things that we're after.
You were talking to Nate Moorman, the athletic director here at Emmanuel College. Let's talk about where the Lions program has been and where we're going now. A lot of changes.
Yeah, we have. I mean, as a department, obviously we went through a tremendous amount of growth, and we've got a variety of different governing bodies. But when we cast a vision 4 years ago, or roughly 4 years ago, that our successes in our programs was going to be an outcome of the decisions we make as an administration. It's going to be an outcome of the environment we provide our coaches to thrive in. And then ultimately the environment our student athletes can grow in. And we feel like we've done that really well. We've had 115 or so All-Americans in the last 3 years, and we've had 130 academic All-Americans, national level academic recognition. We've had a multitude of community service projects our teams have been involved in. And I think we just had our 9th coach get a Coach of the Year award, which goes a long way to show the efforts that our administration's put forth. Guys like Lance and Kirk McConnell, Bridget Allen, Inga Ashford, just our Sandy Campbell, our administrative staff. They just do such a good job keeping our mission first and keeping the coach's experience, the student athlete experience on the front line.
Who is Coach of the Year?
This year, we've had in the past, we've had Scott Borchers, our men's soccer coach. Of course, TJ Rosine has won it. Jake Brumlow, our former wrestling coach, had earned those awards as well. I know I'm going to leave some people out without,
Well, the newest one you just mentioned, you just had one to win that award.
And Rodney Estrada has also earned coach. Our archery coach has earned several Coach of the Year.
All right. We're taping this on Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday morning. Big basketball tournament. Got to be proud of both the men and the women at nationals.
Oh yeah, always. Coach Bonner and TJ Rosine, they just do such a good job with the programs. They're consistent. They're competitive. They know how to recruit. They know how to get kids that Emmanuel wants, and then they get them out there and get them motivated. And they just always perform well. And it's always exciting in March because you're probably going to be in a postseason with those two teams. So we're looking forward to that. I couldn't be prouder of being able to work with them. So,
all right, conference-wise, where were we when you got here? Who made the decision to go to Conference Carolinas?
Well, the decision to go to Conference Carolinas was made before I got here, and when as a member at King University, who's in the same conference, we were aware of that. The Conference Carolinas just fits both with our alumni base and then geographically the the travel costs and the times missed for class to go compete. And it just made a lot of sense. And then all the schools are private enrollment schools just like us. So, we just feel really, really at home with the conference. When I got here, it's a big adjustment going from NAI to NCAA Division II schedules.
Yeah.
And so one of the big major adjustments is the consistency of play. So where NAI has got some great programs and without question some highly competitive programs.
Yeah.
And NCAA Division II, you tend to run into them pretty much more frequently within conference alignment. So that was a big adjustment. We were, for the most part, other than men and women's basketball, we were toward the bottom of most of our sports in the conference. And since then, we've had our women's volleyball this year finished second in the conference in the regular season. Women's tennis finished first in the conference last year. Men's tennis finished fairly high. Men and women's soccer have finished in the top 50% of our conference. And you just seen gradual growth in what our programs are able to accomplish at the conference level as well.
I know Mike Bonner was here with us last time we did this, and he was talking about frustration waiting for Conference Carolinas to open the door to let Emmanuel compete in the postseason. How close are we to that?
Yeah, well, that's not really Conference Carolina's decision. They're on board. They're 100% supportive of Emmanuel College, and they're looking forward to it, to us coming in. We know that for sure. It's the NCAA Division II membership is what is postseason is ultimately contingent on. That membership process has been a challenge as we've gone through it. There's been a lot of adjustments we've had to make, and I think that we've successfully met all the requirements the NCAA Division II has for membership. So hopefully this summer we'll be full members. And that's our plan, and once we're full members, we can compete in postseason.
As athletic director, you're in charge of bringing in coaches to lead these athletic programs. Obviously, you're bringing in the right people. How do you sell a potential coaching candidate on Emmanuel? What are the things you bring up?
Well, it's just like what we talked about at the beginning. It's people.
Yeah.
So the thing I think that sold me on Emmanuel, I think it sells a lot of our student athletes and our coaches alike when we're out recruiting a new coach to come in to fill someone else's shoes. It's just the people. So once you get them on campus and they get an opportunity to see how intentional our staff is, how intentional the people in Emmanuel are, and trying to make a positive impact on each other, when you see that and you feel that on our campus, that's an attractive thing for anybody. And there's no question that plays a role in our ability to get quality coaches. And I think that they see from us our purpose as an athletic department, what we're looking for. We're not looking for coaches that can necessarily only teach the tactical aspect of a sport. Those are easy to find.
Yeah.
We're looking for coaches that can come in and really help mold student athletes and understand the intangible part of coaching, the importance of teaching, developing leadership in their athletes, to be spiritual mentors for their athletes. Those are the things that we're really looking for in our coaches that we bring in. And when you bring people like that through the interview process, they get here and they meet great people.
Yeah.
They want to be part of it, and it's been really, really helpful for us.
Facilities have really grown in the last 4 or 5 years. It's got to be a big selling point. You're proud of this basketball arena and everything else in this building.
Yeah, this building's unbelievable. Yeah. I don't know anybody that's came into this Shaw Athletic Center and not made a comment on how spectacular the building is. So the facilities definitely make a difference. And we've got some efforts on other facilities for other sports that we're putting forward, trying to get them to be as top-notch and as premier as this facility is. And hopefully in the long-term plan we can accomplish those goals and have all of our facilities as fantastic as this one is. So.
All right, the weather's pretty much frigid right now, so that means it's spring sports time. So what spring sports are offered here at Emmanuel?
We have men and women's golf, men and women's tennis, men and women's lacrosse, softball, baseball, archery, and clay target move all the way in through April. They're sort of an all-year type sport. Bowling moves into April as well. And so right now, as our Assistant Athletic Director of Sports Communication and Marketing, Lance can tell you, right now is an extremely busy time for Emmanuel Athletics. It's an exciting time.
Yeah.
Winter sports are ending as well, and so we're in the postseason part of that. But it is definitely a busy time, we've got several sports that are offered in spring. So,
how will you spend your summer?
Men's volleyball is also offered in spring.
Okay,
I don't want to leave them out either.
Right.
How will I spend my summer?
Yeah, as far as is continuing to have this program thrive.
Most of our summer spent making sure that we're meeting our recruitment goals, our enrollment goals, and making sure that we're planning out for what we're going to accomplish next year. We've got a small administrative staff and 28 teams and 575 athletes, so we really got to meticulously plan out how we're going to have the impact we want to have. And then as we start to unlaunch a new strategic plan, we've really got to have a good strategy put forth. So it takes a lot of planning. Of course, there's some NCAA reporting that we've got to finish in the summer as well as part of that membership process. But other than that, hopefully we get time to go to the golf course and maybe the lake a couple times. We don't get those very often, but hopefully we can some this summer. So.
All right. I know it's going to be a busy time. We mentioned Conference Carolinas, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. But are you happy with Conference Carolinas? Was that a good decision?
Oh, it's such a good decision. I don't think we could be any happier. Just knowing some of the other institutions that have gone through the move to NCAA Division II and their some of the issues that they've had with their conferences as part of that membership process, you really need full conference support to become a Division II member. And our conference and our conference commissioner, Alan Patterson, they've just been so supportive and so helpful, and we just couldn't have asked for a better conference to be part of. And the ADs and everybody's just like-minded. So it's nice to go into conference meetings, everybody's got the same end goal on how we impact our student athletes, and that's a nice thing to have. So,
Coach, we appreciate your time. I know it's the busiest time of the year here, and to give 10 or 15 minutes to talk about this program, we really appreciate it. I know things are going to get even bigger and better here in Emmanuel. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. That's Coach Nate Moorman, the athletic director here at Emmanuel. That's going to wrap up this program. We're going to go to a little religious tone with our next show, but we'll tell you about that later. Have a good day.